Live from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, this is your motivational, sensational, inspirational, educational, aspirational, international, keenly awaited, daily created, highly anticipated edition of the Afternoon Swing Trading Floor with your humble host, Jeremy Alexander Newsom, with another daily dose of mentally delicious brain food, reminding each of you to love life, and trade it. Folks, friends, family from around the world, what's going on? It's your boy. Hope you're all doing fantastic. How's everyone in the world out there today? Alex is here, the Sergeant, Bill, Bob, December, Gene, Jill, K-Rob, Lad, Mike, Robin, Scott, Mr. McKay. Hope you're doing great, man. Hope you and I and Boomer get to hang out sometime in 2019. Sylvan, what's going on, my friend? Tony, hello, hello. Jill says, good to see your beautiful face. Thanks, Jill. The camera has like this Photoshop ability. It's really cool. It just takes away all the ugliness, and it's like a filter. It's like a Snapchat filter. Speaking of Snapchat, that stock's just getting hammered. Let's pull up some stocks, shall we, and talk it through. So a very interesting day today. In fact, exactly what we talked about yesterday. Type in a 2 into that chat pane if you remember me saying the term, if we gap up big, fade it. That is exactly what we're looking at. And I did also mention yesterday that it will be very important for SPY to close above today's high this week. We haven't done that yet. We still can, plenty of time left, but we did have a monstrous gap up on the markets today, and it was an obvious fade, unquestionable. So, I mean, that's all the markets have been doing recently is fading the gaps. Eventually, it doesn't have to happen the very first day. I will say that we also, or at least I also, attempted to fade it on this day, and it didn't work out. Even though it eventually did, right? On that particular day, it didn't. So you still have to try it, and I'll show you how I play this one. And I left a lot of money on the table. Not too sad because it was a really nice, profitable day. 2 of them back to back, which has already gotten me out of my hole from the first week of December, which is wonderful. That's good news. Still have some swing trade risk exposure out there. We're going to be looking at that today. But let me go look at the SPY. So if I just hide all of my drawings really quick and just plain old simple, talk about the analysis. Tons of buyers, bullish candle, gapping up. Markets were up like 1.5% this morning, and that was just it was too much. Too much for them to be up. At least I thought so, and was looking for a fade pretty much per the analysis from yesterday. So if we zoom in here to a 5-minute chart, you'll pretty much see how I faded it. It wasn't anything super weird or crazy. But more or less was looking at and kind of planning for it to do this, and then that. Just kind of break down and roll over. And so I did play this one a little aggressively. Actually, when I posted it in Slack, let me bring this over here. Give me about 4 seconds. Where is that post? Scrolling right here. So this is at 9:08 Central. And this was the trade I was looking at. I was looking for it to break below the low of these bullish candles that were coming in, specifically that guy right there, that hammer. Because you can see, right, it traded up, traded down, traded down, traded up, broke the low, right, made a new low. So this is where everyone, initially probably shorted. And then it bounced and broke, and it was starting to make higher highs and higher lows. And so I was like, okay, we're probably just going to keep running, going to go up 9% for the day or something crazy like that. But if we don't, right, if we break these really strong bullish candles that are coming in on a 1 minute, it's probably going to be relatively bearish. And I'm just going to keep my stop nice and high above all the pre-market resistance. So if I come back in here on SPY on a 1 minute chart, and let me make sure I'm at today's candle. Okay, so we're at today's candle. So I'm just kind of zoom back over here. And again, I really don't take 1 minute trades very often, but I had the feeling on this one, I guess, and got super close. Give me 3 seconds. I want to get it fit so that it looks good All right, so here it was. This was the trade, and this was pretty much the candle that I posted that chart on. It was right there. And again, the entry, when I uncheck this box, you'll see it. Entry was below this candle, below those candles, and stop was just above the high. And I did hold through this retracement. I was really happy about that. I didn't want it to retrace or retest, but I did. I held through it, was pretty excited. So here's the setup. So again, bearish entry. And then when this retracement came in, I really was not keen on this move right here. But I was like, you know what? I had an R of risk. And the other one that I'm going to look at in just a moment was JP Morgan. The reason I did not bail on SPY is because JP Morgan was working. And someone once told me that JP Morgan is in the S&P 500. So my thoughts was, if JP Morgan looks like it's going to continue to go lower, then the S&P probably will. And if I get stopped out and lose an R on SPY, then maybe eventually JP Morgan will roll over and I can make more than R lost. That was really my thoughts. So once this candle came in, right here, I lowered my stop to what you see, 267.90, and then pretty much walked away. Walked away for a bit, let it do its thing, and then this double top came in on a 1 minute chart right here. Boom, 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 boom. This support came in, and I changed it, started looking at it on a 5 minute time frame, and then I got out at 266.24. Why did I exit there? Pretty much because it looked like it was going to bounce a little bit. Again, I did think the market was going to fade. I didn't think the market would necessarily fade quite as much as it did. If I turn a 5 minute chart on the SPY and hop over to today's candle, let me come over here. All right, so this is a 5 minute chart. So the other reason is it made that new low. So once the stock makes that new low, boom, right there, that S curve, right, makes that new low, I usually exit. And that was also the 10 EMA on a 15 minute chart. So here's the 15 minute chart. Again, all kinds of excuses to exit, but that's where the 10 EMA was. So I was like, okay, this is usually where I exit. I'm gonna get out here, lock in the game. And you can see that this could have easily have been like a 4, 5, 6 R trade. Now, again, I'm not going to get out at the bottom. I would have taken something off along the way, but it could have been a nice trade. And I did say out loud to my buddy Troy, who's here, I was like, man, this thing's going to fade all day. But it's okay. Again, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. That was a good win. And the really key level at this point to watch is the same one that I talked about yesterday. It was 261.94 on the SPY. These levels I will be looking at buying into tomorrow. I'm not going to do it blindly, but on my futures, my futures traders and just in general, I'm going to look forward to trade down into here and then potentially bounce. I'm not going to buy it blindly though. I'm not going to set up a limit order just to get in. I'm going to wait for the candle. Because if we hang out here and these do break down, good googa mooga, we're going to flush. So SPY will just, I mean, we'll probably be at 256 by the end of the week if we do that on the SPY tomorrow or the next day. So just keep that in mind. That's just kind of what I'm looking at and considering. We did have a retest gap. It did retest today, so all is well, unless we take out those supports on SPY. And again, here's kind of what those look like on the E-minis. If I zoom into this on a 15-minute chart, so here's the 15-minute chart, and again, you're just kind of looking at that 26.23 price range, 26.23 and the 26.17, just in that general zone. You could probably short it into there, but if we take it out, all bets are off for me for any type of bounce. Now, here's the Dow Jones, the DIA, and the DIA today had a similar fade, so white candle gapping up. You can see that it just smacked its head right into the 10 EMA, so that was very interesting. And then the Qs was actually did gap up and also kind of traded down a little bit. So it is having, and we are retesting at the present moment in time. Here's the hourly chart on the Qs. And again, it looks pretty much similar, but what's really kind of fun is this was right towards the tail end of the day when we had that rally. You had a really strong tweezer top type of pattern come in on the Qs, right? So it traded up, trade down, tweezer top, and then again, if we start breaking lower, I mean, I'm convinced we're gonna have a pretty fun move. Again, unless for some weird reason tomorrow we gap down huge, which why not? Certainly possible. If we gap down huge tomorrow, like down here or something, we'll probably fade. But a nice small normal gap down, and I'll be watching it for most likely a little bit of continuation lower. The weekly chart on the Qs is what the weekly looks like. Again, we're just kind of retesting those really big upper shadow candles. Here's the IWM, which still looks a little on the weak side. We've been talking about this one, and again, it did have a relatively decent gap. I'm by no means saying we're done and this is it, we're just going lower. We did post a very strong pivot on the IWM. You have some really good supports in here, right? So here's the support. Very good support. You got that little flush down with this lower shadow. So honestly, I'm hoping that we gap up tomorrow. That would be a good scenario. I would be excited about that. I think that'd be fun. But if we have a small, dainty little gap down tomorrow and we start breaking these supports, I'm all for it. I mean, let's enjoy it and have a really fun Wednesday. So that's the IWM, and today's Tuesday, Tech Giant Tuesday. And again, to back over to the Qs, that's pretty much what I got for the most part. So that's my broader markets thought processes. Any questions, concerns, thoughts, or opposition viewpoints before we hop into some of these stocks that I got on the list? I want to make sure we got all the ones I want to look at. Yep, I think we do. All right, perfect. Let's go check out Dave & Buster's, ticker symbol PLAY. And Dave & Buster's with earnings gapping down. So Dave & Buster's, this blue line was Mr. Squiggles. That's what he wanted to get on a weekly chart. Obviously, I was hoping it would gap up and eventually fade down, but that's not the case. Dave & Buster's is gapping down after numerous bearish candles in a row. So let me take off this drawing, and we're gapping down on Dave & Buster's to 143.50. So you have a support here at 46.38. We're gapping below that. It's down 14%. I don't even know what support's down here. Okay. So we're gapping to 143.50. Wow. Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, I'm gonna expect something like this and this at some point. PLA, bearish gap, bearish retest, gap, and fade tomorrow. All right. PLAY is down huge on earnings. I like this company. Others probably do as well. So with it being down 14% or more right now, it eventually fades, I would imagine. So watch for a quick thrust lower, and then keep an eye for the bullish fade tomorrow or the next day. It's simply one I'll be watching and really cautious on shorting it. Okay, that's pretty much it. PLAY, earnings analysis, real life trading. Okay, just throw that out there for the world. And so I'm gonna write that down for my list tomorrow morning, because I did have a good fade on big lots on Friday. PLAY, it was Friday, right? Or was it Thursday? No, it was Friday. Okay, Wednesday morning, Dave & Buster's. Got it. So I jotted that down, and we got the retest gap, pretty strong gap down, strong percent change, but from here, we'll just kind of see what we get. Okay. So now that that is loaded, okay. Next on the list, we have NEO, Genomics, which is part of the fall portfolio. And watching this one because this weekly chart kind of looks a little bit like a double top, at least to me. A little bit of a double top in here. And here's the daily chart on NEO. So right now, I've just been waiting for a retest, which we haven't gotten yet. So I would just kind of be looking for, again, you got the double top, got the breakdown. Yeah, I would look for something like that. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I like the volume a lot. It looks good. It looks a little on the weaker side. The move is interesting, and with all these bearish candles, I just wouldn't short it right now. I would wait for a little bit of a pullback and then short the top of that retracement on NEO. Next on the list, VCRA. VCRA, this is the daily, and VCRA, this is also from the fall portfolio, and this one is just continuing to go to bullish town. Good trends. Here's the weekly charts. Again, good trend on the weekly chart and the daily time frame. So we have a retest gap today, pretty much near an all-time high on VCRA. If you're already in, beautiful. The analysis that I was looking at Sunday night was pretty much just, if you're going to get in above here with a stop below there and just kind of let it keep on slowly climbing higher, because that's the trend. I mean, you got the inside candle, you got the retestment, you got the high wave bearish candle on Friday. So VCRA, I mean, as far as the trend looks, is bullish. And if you want to get in at this particular point in time, I'd probably put my entry where the stops would go, which is about 38.50. So if it does retest this big old retest gap and just does a quick snap down lower, I'd kind of like to buy where those folks' stops are resting. Okay, next on the list is Acacia Communications, ACIA. And Acacia is putting itself in a morning star reversal pattern off of the 100 simple on the daily chart. Here's the weekly, and you got the 100 simple on a weekly kind of acting as a resistance. We have a convergence of two moving averages, the 100 on the daily and the 100 on the weekly, doing a little bit of battle. At this particular point in time on ACIA, if I was looking at playing this one, I would wait for a close above that resistance. I do like the candles. I like the gap. The general market is a smidge bearish right now. But if we can get an end of day bullish close above 42.94, we'll have a better shot at some type of bullish momentum on ACIA. Whoever requested that one, awesome. I like that. Pretty chart. PayPal, PYPL. And PayPal has been real interesting. The last time we looked at it was on 12/7, where I was talking about one could consider a debit spread or a credit spread like a Condor. And both of those are still totally viable options on PayPal. If you're going to go with a credit spread, you probably want to sell as high as you can and buy as low as you can, but there is premium for January. Tony is mentioning that it looks very similar to Microsoft. It does. So you have some lower highs, you have some higher lows, and you can kind of see this triangle pattern kind of forming. We also had a relatively decent gap up today with a gorgeous high wave candle. Therefore, PayPal, a smidge more indecisive. But again, I agree with Tony, very indecisive candle, but it does look like Microsoft. So if it broke higher or lower out of today's candle, that most likely is the direction that's going to be going short term. And with that being the case, you could do both. You could do the debit spread, where you do a bear put and bull call, just in case it breaks out. So you do like a bull call debit spread, bear call debit spread, and then not only that, but you also sell those a little bit higher. So, you know, if it does eventually break out in one direction or another, if you do the directional, you probably want to go over earnings, because why not? And the non-directional, which is the debit spread or credit spread, you're probably going to just do for January. So feel free to keep your eyes on PayPal. It does look like it's pretty choppy. We can say that it's held up relatively well, all things considered, with the market selling off the way it has been. Therefore, this particular price on PayPal, I really like this high wave candle, and you could probably bracket trade the breakout or the breakdown of that bad boy right there. Salesforce, ticker symbol CRM, has been doing some interesting things, and at some point when I learn how to type, I'll be able to type that into the ticker box. CRM on the daily chart also had a little bit of a gap up today, and what we're doing right now is we are forming a small overshadow. We're hanging out at the 200. The low of today was 135.59. And here's the hourly chart on Salesforce. So the hourly, I will go ahead and draw this pennant pattern, and feel free to trade this however it breaks down. It obviously looks similar to the rest of the market, but there it is. I mean, it's a really nice triangle. You probably would want to close on an hourly chart above, you know, one of the two resistances or supports. It will look similar to the market, but based on the general gap anyway, I still think this was the trade higher, and this is going to be the pullback that we're starting here on Salesforce. Because remember, it had a strong, strong move. I don't think it V bottoms, right? This being the V down here at 115. Probably trades back down to there and give you another shot at it. And again, it doesn't have to fill the gap to its entirety. I mean, we could just trade sideways and break out, because it is a retest gap, and we have been retesting. So again, I'm cool with the breakout of this pennant pattern. I would also really like a gap out of it, and we'll just kind of see what type of move we get there on CRM. One to watch very closely. I do have the weekly options newsletter coming up tonight, and Seagate Technology, we did get triggered into that today. The limit of 225 filled. And it depends on, again, how you play this one. I talked about it yesterday, that some people got triggered in on Friday. Just entirely depends on how you play it. If you play it with shares or different entries or different stops. But for me, the 225 filled pretty much this morning. And with a stop at 125, I think we'll eventually be able to lower that. But let's just keep it right now. So far, Mr. Squiggs got the direction on Seagate. I liked the move, and let's find out if this one goes lower. Now, this one was a January option, so we do have a little bit of time on Seagate. I will do my best to hold this one for a bit, but you know, if it trades down to 30, 37, or 36, that'd pretty much be the target. I believe that there's a long-term moving average somewhere down here. Is it on a monthly chart? Monthly chart. Yep, so there's the 100 down there on a monthly, which again, we could easily break through, but I'll probably be more comfortable getting out down there as a support and locking in the gain and just kind of calling it a day. That's where Brad has his put sale, my buddy Brad Runge at 38, and that's expiring in December. So we'll be watching that one closely. Brad almost was the seller of our buying option. We've been in a trade like that before, which was fun. I've been in a trade long on the puts, but I knew the trader who was actually short those exact same puts. I was like, hey man, we made the market. That was our transaction. Not literally. I mean, that doesn't happen that way, but anyway. I like this retest on Seagate. Let's see if she breaks lower. I don't know. I like it. Okay, UAL. UAL. This is United. This is the one that my buddy John D requested yesterday. United Continental. You got your inside day candle with a high wave bullish candle on the 100. Now, there's never been a time before where you got a high wave candle at the 100 with an inside day candle right after it. So no idea how to play this one. The cool news is we'll find out pretty soon if we break above or we break below. Again, good inside candle, could break in any direction. Will United bounce bullish off the 100, or will it continue to slowly falter and break below it? I wish I knew the answer to that question, but we can kind of get an idea from this weekly. The weekly chart is a bearish engulfing candle. And you got this little tiny high wave the last 2 days. It's like trying to do something right at the 20 EMA. So yeah, I like that high wave. And what I will do is I will put a bracket trade on this. When I say bracket trade, I mean, I'm literally just drawing the lines on the screen. I'm not gonna do anything other than that because I haven't been planning it. And I'm gonna come back and look at it tomorrow and Thursday. We'll look at it both days and just kind of see if we end up taking a bearish breakdown or a bullish breakdown. So I'm not setting anything up on UAL, just literally drawing the line so that my plan's like, okay, get my 18 hours in, start planning it and go from there. Pretty much able to do whatever we want on United at some point. Okay, Verizon very much might likely become a weekly options newsletter candidate with a break low of today and a stop above the high of these candles. So we've been talking about Verizon with a day or two, talking about this double top. We closed below the neckline, and I'm trying to see if this is going to be a retest of that neckline. It's going to be an aggressive trade, and I agree it's a literal counter trend. But here's the weekly. In the weekly chart, you did have a one black crow on the weekly with increased volume, and we broke a little bit lower on that. And if we go to a monthly chart just had this bearish inside candle. I could see, Verizon potentially retesting a little bit more. And we did have a pretty solid retest gap today. So I think it'd be fun to see if this double top plays out, because that's really the pattern that I'm trying to see if we're going to be able to snag on Verizon. So most likely going to be your weekly options newsletter candidate, unless I can find something else today. Okay, here's Spotify, SPOT. We talked about this one just yesterday. And it did break below our bearish stop limit. So we would have been triggered in. So what I'm now going to do is say, that was interesting, and see if we can get a short opportunity on Spotify. It is shortable. So I now would hop into the hourly chart and say, all right, where is this short going to take place? Because again, it could have triggered all day today. And it looks to me like if it breaks above this like stair step pattern, it should actually go a little bit lower, right? So we should just trade stop with a breakdown. So I might just have to keep this entry of 128.95 and 140.11. Doesn't really look like, I could always put an entry up here just in case it trades all the way back there. Let me put this one back to the end of the session and see if there's anything I like better, and kind of review some of the other trades that we're in as well, and find out if I want to take that or not. Because that is a nice breakdown with volume of this pretty strong bullish candle in what I would argue is a pretty decent bearish trend. Okay, we'll come back to Spotify. iRobot, IRBT, is down 2 2/4. So we had the gap down, it retested. We have a little bit of a bearish candle today with increasing volume. You're in between the long-term moving averages, that's toasty. This retest gap is begging to get filled. Oh man. Where in the world would I short iRobot? I probably missed this one, team, because I just didn't. There's someone already in, I'm sure. I'm gonna just draw this and see if we can get a setup or something on it tomorrow that I like. I like shorting iRobot on a retest. So we had a black candle gap down. We retested the gap. We pretty much filled it today. Here's your exponential moving averages. And man, that looks exactly like my SPY trade that I took the other day. See, that's also pretty. All right, what's today? Today's Tuesday. So iRobot. Keep an eye on Spotify. Whew. Okay, I'm gonna start getting my 18 hours in on iRobot pretty soon because that thing looks like death. I really like that retest. I'm not saying it's gonna have to go lower by any means, but it certainly could. And here's the weekly component. And the weekly component, weekly chart's pretty much just hanging out. Stop would be above that weekly high. So yeah, I'm definitely going to come back to iRobot tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. See if we can get a trade on that one. Just got to get my 18 hours in. That's the thing. FireEye, F-E-Y-E, down 4.5%. Last time I looked at it, the 200 simple on the weekly was a big resistance. And my analysis was, hey, if you got shares, you could consider doing yourself a covered call above that 200 simple on a weekly. The daily, you got a really big bearish close today on the daily chart. Bob says, gotta run. Concert at Jonah School. I'll catch the rest of the recording. Have a great evening. You too, buddy. Take care, my good friend. So what's really cool about FireEye is you got a nice close below this candle with what looks to be like a double top. And my thoughts on FireEye would be a retest and then a drop. So if you were playing FireEye, I would say something like this with a stop above the high of today. And that is exactly what I would do on FireEye. Don't know if it'll fill or not, probably won't. But if we get a little bit of a bullish pop tomorrow or the next day or something like that, I like that on F-E-Y-E. And I wouldn't look for a cataclysmically strong move, but you know, the last time we got below the 50 a few times before we went lower, I think we could do that again on F-E-Y-E. Okay, next on the list, your boy Apple had some interesting weakness today. Not really surprised by this weakness since that's exactly what I drew. Sunday night, I actually did that analysis and said, all right, Apple's going to gap down and kind of retest a little bit. So, I mean, again, one candle can change anything. You know, a really nice gap tomorrow would be wonderful. A gap above 170.78. Give me one moment. Let me fix this. A gap above 170.78 tomorrow, or maybe this week. Could be fun for a day trade and maybe a swing for the bulls. Right? If. Keyword if. I don't know. Certainly does not have to happen, but that would just be right above all these wicks, and that'd be trapping some people. Therefore, on Apple, we did get stopped out of the weekly options newsletter. Sorry about that. I mean, I just didn't want to be scared of the trade. And you know, it was at the support. It was at the 200 simple on a weekly chart. It broke below. So this candle that we got yesterday says to me that this is probably the bottom for a few days, but we're most likely going to just flag pattern in here for a little bit. And again, unless we have a good gap tomorrow, we'll just kind of flag pattern and then eventually break lower. So if you got long puts on Apple for protection, I would just say keep holding them. And if you have long-term shares, great. I'm a big fan of Apple long-term, and just protect them is all. You know, let's just have some protection out there. And I like the volume. I like the candle. I like the gap up. Today's candle, The high and the open were almost the exact same, very close to a shaved top candle, which is pretty bearish. And that was the only upper shadow you had right there on the 5 minutes. So it opened, tanked, retested, and rolled right over. So Apple, yeah, a smidge bearish. And again, we are breaking below and retesting the 100 simple moving average on a weekly chart from the bottom. Woo! So we'll see. Next is going to go lower. All right, Facebook, ticker symbol FB. And Facebook today, this is the daily chart. And just watched some Facebook. You had, again, almost a, actually, I apologize. This is a shaved top candle on Facebook. The open and the high is the exact same. So, for any of my bearish traders, if you want something fun, nice, cute, and aggressive, we can look at that on Facebook. Pretty much 140.81 by 144.29. You know, if it takes out the low of the day, you're pretty much just playing it in the direction of the short side. The trend right now is a little bit bearish. Here's the weekly chart. And you know, you're coming into the 10 EMA on a weekly. So there's going to be a little bit of pressure on Facebook here pretty soon. The long-term moving averages, we are working on bouncing off of that. But yeah, I'd watch Facebook decently well if it breaks the low of today, because today was, I mean, very close to a perfectly shaved top candle. 143.83, that's what it says. Interesting. Very interesting. So I have a little bit of a different number on the daily chart than the 5 minute chart. Let me go look at Thinkorswim, see if Thinkorswim is the same. Okay, Facebook. Open and the high are the exact same on the daily. And the 5 minute chart, that is so weird. See, do you guys remember that one time I freaked out about the data being different with the close, like the last 15 minutes of the day, that kind of thing? I'm about to have a freak out session again. Why? Because it's the exact same on TOS. Why does it have the open of the day at 143.83 on a 5 minute chart, but the daily has an open of 143.88? How would those be different? Oh man, because the open is the open, right? Shoot. All right. Let me reach out to my market maker. Okay, give me 1 second. Hey man, I have a quick question. Maybe you can answer this for me on Facebook. So it's Facebook specifically. If I'm looking at the daily chart on Facebook, I have an open of 143.88, right? On all brokers. So at least Thinkorswim and a few others, I can verify that the open on a daily chart on Facebook today is 143.88. Why is it that if I go to a 5 minute chart, the open on the 5 minute time frame of today's candle on Facebook is 143.83? Why is there a 5 cent difference? I need an answer. I'm assuming it might be it's some kind of like time constraint. Meaning like, I have no idea. I'm just making up answers. I don't know. I'm interested to see what he says. Should I just leave? Am I done? Okay. I'm just gonna See you later. I don't know. Oh man. Oh, yeah, that's so painful. When you live your life by every tick, like the candles need to be, you know, this is it kind of thing. Anyway, all right, I'll drop it. I'll let you know what he says. So Facebook, again, just looked a little bit more bearish. An inside day candle tomorrow, easiest trade I've taken in a while. An inside day tomorrow, get it. Okay. Here's Citigroup. Weak. Woo! Financials are weak. I told you. Oh man, I shorted JPM like a boss today. And Citigroup, I did not play, but it still has loads of weakness. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do it again tomorrow. Citigroup, please don't let Citigroup open lower than 55.81. That would be just too simple. This is, actually, can anyone tell me what candle pattern is this on the daily? You know, of course, if the candle prices are accurate and the open and the 5 minutes are the same, is that on everything? Let me just go now. Now you got me questioning everything I know about everything. 58.17 is the open. And the 5 minute, 58.22. Oh no. Oh no. Oh boy. So the open and the close are just, it's up for debate, is what the candles are telling. Because there's no such thing as a cash open, right? That was the answer that I got last time, was there's a difference between the cash close and the actual close. So, you know, when the market closes, it's not exactly closed yet. They're like 4:15, then it's closed, which I get. Okay, that's fine if the stock's gonna be that way. I will say into the future, this stuff's gonna get even harder because in the next 5 to 10 years, guess what's gonna be traded 24 hours a day? You got it, the stock market. Stock's gonna trade 24 hours a day in the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, you already can do all kinds of, you know, really active trades. That's, I guess, a pro and a con. Anyway, put Citigroup on your list tomorrow. I'm going to be day trading the mess out of this. If we even break lower or make lower lows or anything, it has a wicked pair candle. There's nothing holding Citigroup up. This is the weekly. We're below the 200 simple on a weekly. This is game time. Jill says, really? It's a speculation. I haven't heard it from anyone like that actually can make it happen, but I think that's going to happen. Tony says, do you think it'll be 5 days a week like Forex, or they throw in Sunday too? I think it'll be 5 days a week like Forex. Yep. I can easily see that happen. Again, I haven't heard this from anyone that would actually make that happen, but it makes sense if we think about it. We're getting faster and faster internet, faster and faster speeds. You can already trade shares and Interactive Brokers and TOS and TD Ameritrade until like 6 p.m. So, you know, if you can find the market to make it, it'll start happening. Citigroup looks bearish. Okay, next on the list, Micron. And Micron was up today. So MU gapped up, closed up a little bit. But again, the trend right now still looks a little on the weak side. This $50 covered call is barely going to expire worthless next Friday. But realistically, yeah, this bad boy is coming down to the 200 simple on the weekly chart, especially if we take out this candle. So I know it's only Tuesday. If for whatever reason MU closes with a candle like this on Friday, and we break the low of that candle, it's going to go nice and low down at least to the 200 simple. So at this point, that's kind of my worst case scenario, but that's my thoughts on MU. And I think that's what's going to happen. We got 15 minutes left. Okay, here's Amazon. And Amazon on the daily charts is doing everything in its power to hold itself higher. So Amazon is showing some strength as well, which again, I'm all about it. This is a little too shallow to be an inverted head and shoulders, but it certainly can. Now, what I can say is this was a very nice retest gap, and we did fill the gap. So again, Amazon, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I know today felt like it was bearish. We talked about the major levels out there. If we have a good gap up tomorrow, I'm not saying we will or won't, but if we do, if we can get a good gap up tomorrow, yeah, I think that we can have some bullish continuation. I mean, this is all attempts to form a Morningstar reversal right now on Amazon. If you look at the hourly chart, that is a pretty cute inverted head and shoulders pattern. Right, boom, 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 boom. So a good gap up tomorrow, or a good hourly close or something, you know, would be thumbs up. But obviously, if not, Amazon's going to follow the broader market. Alibaba was up again this morning with news of maybe some type of Chinese deal working out. And here is my notes. Let's see, if we post small bullish candles Thursday and Friday and take those out, Bear Town. That was my note. We did post small candles Thursday and Friday, and we did take those out. Interesting. So then I would say on Baba, if we broke this low, I'd just be a little bit bearish. 50.26, if we break that low on Baba, just you can just buy some puts, maybe protect yourself if you're bullish. Depends on how you're bullish, of course. If you have put sales, a few of you do, maybe buy a really short-term put just as a hedge. The weekly on Baba, you know, acted as a resistance. You had this little high wave bullish candle. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of an interesting candle. Very fun, very cool gap today. So pumped to find out what happens in the market tomorrow. Because if we gap down, we're continuing. If we gap up, cool, let's go bullish. And if we open flat, who knows? I'll just be sitting on my hands, ready for the move. So yeah, Baba, watch that one really closely. 10-cent holdings, TCEHY, almost going to rename itself to 5-cent holdings. Was up today 2.5% or 2.25%. Here's the weekly chart, and 10-cent is trying. There's no way to hedge on TCEHY, so my plan is if we break below 37.84, go look to short Baba or KWeb or something as a hedge if we break that. So 37.84, that's obviously on a weekly chart, pretty good support, and the daily chart is kind of hanging out. So if we gap down below there or break that support, I'm just going to go look to hedge with another position, make a little bit of money with that on the downside, and then eventually, since I missed my addition, I wanted to add shares down here at 31.50. I think I missed it by 4 cents. So if I get another shot down there to add around 32, just a super small position, I will on Tencent. Okay, since we're looking at some of the Chinese stocks, let me pull up Bilibili. Somehow we're still in this one. And it looks like it's gapping down a little bit post-market, but we'll see how that opens. So we've moved the stop on BILI. I might be able to short this one in a different account if it does open down there tomorrow, because that would be bearish. Oh yeah. Oh heavens, we open below 14.81 tomorrow. This thing is just gonna sink. All right, let me write that one down. BILI open below 14.81. I'll just short that in a different account. Not saying it will happen, but it could. Still going to keep the stop at 13.84. If we lose on it, that's fine. I was kind of hoping that we could get pressed a little bit higher on BILI, and there's still a possibility for that. Maybe we open and then we fill the gap and we run. Still in this one, still holding. Let's see what occurs. And NIO, same thing. So we missed getting stopped out by 5 cents the other day. Stop is 6.69. Let's see what happens on NIO. And we got our stop in place, and we're at a spot that we really can't do very much. So I'm just going to kind of keep waiting on NIO. UXIN was up nicely. This one was a very big move the last few days. And it really all started with this bullish gap and go inside day candle. So UXIN, this one right now is gaining some popularity. It just has phenomenal volume. So with volume like that, you kind of have to trust it. So look for some dips and let's buy those on UXIN. Here's the hourly chart, and this one could have some strength tomorrow. I'll put it on my list for tomorrow morning and see if we get an opportunity to day trade this one. But as far as the swing trade's concerned, we're going to look at this one also on Thursday. We'll look at some tomorrow. But yes, I love the volume on this. Very pretty, nice move. Let's see if we can catch a pullback. Not a super expensive stock on UXIN, and we can have fun playing that one. I don't really want to do any put sales on it, so I'm going to wait that out. But yeah, buy the dip. I love that volume. If that volume can hold, we should get some presses higher on UXIN. Here's Etsy, ETSY. And Etsy just hanging out in a pennant pattern, very cute pennant pattern, approaching Christmas, Hanukkah, and all other kind of holidays that people will celebrate during this time, people want to buy presents for. So with that little move right there, I mean, I think Angela said she's in Etsy, and there's a few other people in Etsy longer term. So if you're in Etsy, I guess stay in Etsy. It's gapping up a little bit post-market. The pennant pattern looks good. The trend looks good. If you're still in that one, thumbs up from this guy. Next on the list, let's go look at our 2 swing trades really quick. 2 other swing trades. And I'm actually going to look at Blue Apron as well, because I'm still in Blue Apron. Weight Watchers, WTW. Really interesting candle today on Weight Watchers. Nice upper shadow with volume. So I guess we have our stop in an okay spot. We obviously should not take out that upper shadow, I don't think, on Weight Watchers. So we've only been in the trade 2 days. But there's really no reason to break that. So I'm going to lower that on Friday. Below the low, or above the high of that candle just a little bit. Lose 0.8 Rs if we're wrong, and see if Weight Watchers can roll over. Dropbox, when the whole market was selling off today, DBX kind of did. Got a little bit of an upper shadow. It closed profitable, just barely. So Dropbox, keeping those fingers crossed on that one. And here's what's crazy about Blue Apron. Blue Apron is trying. I still got this 99-cent trade on Blue Apron. So what I was going to do is come in and see, because you remember the add and reduce on Blue Apron. So we have an add and reduce. We're going to just put in more shares. Our original entry was $1.45 and our stop was 45 cents. We've moved the stop to 99 cents. And I want the new entry to be a little bit tighter. So I'm thinking if we take this and put it above the high of today, which is 110. So if we make it 112, new entry, 112, new stop, and have a half an R risk, you're actually able to add more shares. Jacob says, why Blue Apron? What makes you bullish? Dude, I'm bottom fishing on this one, man. I'm just trying to say, is this thing ever going to stop going down? That's literally it. This was the initial thing that caught my attention, was this bullish gap, bearish high wave candle, and we broke above it. Since then, it's pulled down and it's holding this support. At some point, it's going to break lower, but my thought realistically is It's a New York Stock Exchange, NYSE company, and I don't think that they're going to allow an IPO to go to zero within the course of a year and a half. So that's really it, man. Now, again, the good news is if I do lose on this at this point, it's gonna be only half an hour. So I can actually do an add and reduce with this new stop, still have half an hour of risk, and add 153 shares. Okay. So new add and reduce on Blue Apron, just in case it bounces. Brand new add and reduce, added 12, 11, 18. Okay. APRN, LOL. New swing. Big time hope. Only going to lose 0.5R if I'm wrong. Yeah, so that's really it. That's really it, Diego. Let me see if Lyle. Okay. All right, so Blue Apron, got it. Dollar General, so DG. So Dollar General had a little bit of a bounce today. Beautiful. And again, the crazy part is, I was saying when I was looking at it, last time, I was like, okay, guys, we're at this support. I'm not going to personally go long here, but someone did. And if you got the stones to do it, or the position size, nothing too heavy, nothing too crazy, and you're playing it, well done. I mean, someone did, and they made money, so congrats. Here's your long-term moving averages, and we're just stuck in the middle. So we just trade to the 100 today on Dollar General. Here's the hourly chart, and really kind of a cute retest. So I do like the retest gap, and kind of similar to the rest of the market. If we roll over and have any kind of bearish momentum, it probably will be tomorrow. And if we break out of here and close above the high of today's candle on Dollar General, should continue up a little bit. Here's ALB. So I had a trader looking at Able Marrow Corporation, and here's the weekly chart. And yeah, it's coming down to the 200 simple on a weekly. Here's the previous low was 86.75. So we're at that support at the 200 simple on a weekly, and I forget the trader at this particular moment in time, but was just pretty much looking at getting in bullish, above here with a stop down here on ALB. Makes sense to me. I mean, this is a dividend-paying stock near or very close to a 52-week low. If you're not already in, here's the hourly chart, and once that gap is filled, similar to the rest of the market, you could look to get in at 90.39, with again a stop maybe all the way down here on ALB, which again is below the 200 simple on a weekly chart. That's going to be a really key price. My boy Julian is in on a bull put spread on Macy's. And he posted he's in a 28.29 bull put spread. This is the daily chart on Macy's, and I believe it expires either in December or January. I'm not sure. But here's the weekly, and the 100 simple on a weekly is right in the middle of that spread. So even worst case scenario, Julian, just go ahead and put into your mind that there's certainly the chance that this could happen. And just go, okay, I'm cool with that. I'm comfortable with that. If it occurs, I'll prepare in my mind for it to trade down to the 100 and then bounce. But if I'm looking at the daily charts on Macy's, right now we're just trading very sideways, kind of like almost in a stair-step pattern, flag type of move. And we could go easily any direction. We could bounce from here or break lower. And if we break lower, we'll just slowly careen our way lower. And if we break higher, then I think your bull put spread will expire. Worthless, just let me know what expiration it is. I'll be happy to keep an eye on that one for you. Last but not least, here's Pandora, ticker symbol P. And my boy Jonah is in this one. Jonah is Bob's son. playing Pandora bullish. The weekly chart just kind of slowly trading sideways, but the good news is long-term moving averages, you're above the 100, you're above all moving averages on the weekly and the daily. I'm out of the Pandora position. Some of you still have leaps on it though, and if you're holding strong, congratulations. I do like the volume, I do like the candle, and a close on Pandora above this resistance at any point in time, I would argue would be a pretty good breakout. That'd be a close of about $8.95. So for those in Pandora, hey, go crush it, knock it out the park. I'll keep a very close eye on it and just kind of see what she does. Jonah, congrats, man. Well done. Keep it up, my friend. And if I add an S and an O and a T to Pandora, I get Spotify. I'm going to wait on this particular trade because I'm about to add another R of risk out there on a weekly options newsletter trade. But if you were looking at taking Spotify, here's how I'll do it. 129.11 by 140.11 on ticker symbol SPOT. That's how I would set it up. And that is your Tech Giant Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in. You are amazing. I appreciate you all being here. Tomorrow and the rest of this week, boy, oh boy, it's going to be a good time. Here's the stocks that I have on the list. Costco, Wix, Under Armour, iRobot, XLE, British Petroleum. Diego says, as always, excellent. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that so much. What else do you all want to look at tomorrow on Energy Wednesday? It can be pretty much anything you want. For solar, LNG. Okay, got it. We're going to look at USO, P, ET, Apple, Boeing, eBay, Activision. Angie's List. Nice, Diego. Absolutely. I did not know they were still around. Shopify, perfect. Lad says, are you on a treadmill? You got it, baby. Here it is. That's what I'm doing, man. Just trying to, well, I'm sorry, my finger's just coming up. You can't see. There. That's it. A little bit of a walking desk. It's pretty wide treadmill. So this is the TOS screen over here. And this is what I see right here. This is you guys. Yeah. I love it. All right, friends from around the world, thanks so much for tuning in. You're amazing. And I hope to see you all later. Until next time, love life, live life, and trade it. Bye.